Oh boy, oh heck, oh man, my dudes. Pretty crazy times we're living in right now, huh? Oh jeez. I want to preface this video by saying that this was filmed a while ago, but then, everything started going on, so I just didn't get around to posting it until now. I hope that you're staying safe and taking care of yourself. It's important now, more than ever. Grab a glass of water, relax your shoulders, and let's carry on. Let's do our best. I finished my last sketchbook at the end of February. Pat on the back, me. But I hadn't ordered a new one at this point. And as I was flipping through the pages, I just wasn't happy with what was there. I wasn't happy with how it was being presented in the sketchbook. I thought to myself that I wouldn't be happy to let someone, look through it, and there was so much more that I had wanted to do and wanted to try while working in it. But then I thought to myself, you know what? What's stopping me? This is dumb. So while I was saving for a new sketchbook and choosing which one that I wanted, I just went through my entire sketchbook and worked on different sketches and pieces that I wanted to stand out more and work on and improve. It's a shame that I chose to film this one in particular because I don't think it's my best. This is basically some concept art for an earth goddess or forest goddess or spirit, of the like. I love her design, but I never really do anything with her. She was originally part of my Elements series a while ago that I had, the idea for, but then she kind of turned into this sort of like nymph-like creature, but regardless. I thought since I filled a page with her and I was really proud of the way that I drew her bum, the least I could do was colour her in. That being said, I don't really work with green that often, as a colour and as a colour palette, so I definitely think that this could have been done a lot better and executed much more efficiently. I really want to work with other colour palettes in the future and, study up more on colour theory, because even though I love working with pinks and blues, I reckon I just need to get comfy with, using a large variety of colours and hues. But with that in mind, I try not to be too precious about the work that I do in my sketchbooks anymore. There are definitely pieces that I'm more proud of than others, and, pieces that work better visually, pieces that I'm happier with. But I'm also just happy to get down the ideas that I did. And, each watercolour piece that I did in my sketchbook, even if it was just doing basic colour over a pencil sketch, taught me more about my watercolours and how they work together, or on, how they work together on the type of paper that I'm using, and how I can use them. How I can get the most out of the materials that I'm using. Sketchbooks for me nowadays are like a learning curve. They're a place to work things out and experiment, and, it's a place where I can be like a little bit more self-indulgent and draw what I enjoy, as well as drawing stuff for, commissions and work and conventions. And as someone who, a few years ago, could never even finish a sketchbook because I treated everything far too preciously and would only ever allow myself to do finished pieces on each page, I think that's pretty good! That's a big improvement, I reckon. You know what that is? Growth. So yeah, I experimented a little with this. I tried some things that I wasn't totally comfortable with, and I think I had a mixed success. I wanted to use more of the yellowish tones. I wanted to use the more yellow tones of green because I don't usually do that kind of colour palette, and then sort of integrate them with the more bluish tones. Now, in my mind, I thought this might make it, look better. It would be a more balanced piece. It would be more visually appealing. But I have to be honest, I definitely think that I used too much blue in the hair. I did try to even out that sort of effect by going over certain parts with the more yellow tone, but rather than give it more depth, I think something was just lost there, and I'm not properly educated enough on colour theory to articulate what it is. So there's that. I also, looking back on it now, know that I should have put brown somewhere else in the piece. I love her antlers. I love the fact that she has antlers. She didn't originally when I first drew her, so I like the fact that I gave her antlers, but at the same time, I don't really think that they suit the colours of the rest of this page. I decided not to make any of the trees brown or, put it anywhere else because I didn't want anything taking attention away from her because she's the focus of the piece. But, I don't know, maybe it would have given her more definition if there had been, more brown parts. It's something to think about if I ever attempt to make a similar piece in the future. Speaking of similar stuff in the future, I find that working on sketches like this in my sketchbook really helps me. It's helpful for when I do digital art as well. I'm trying to be more painter-like in my art in general and trying to actively learn things about art and how to improve aspects of my own artwork, whereas before, I'd just sort of stumble through trial and error until the anatomy sort of made sense, and the colours were also there. I never really thought about light sources or tones or shadows or composition, and I was happy with my art, but I never felt like it could compare with the art that I saw others do. But now I see the differences between my work and others, and instead of making me feel hopeless, it just encourages me to work harder on the things that I want to improve. Comparing your stuff with others can be a dangerous, slippery slope. It can also be incredibly helpful to your process. It can encourage you to experiment and try new things and work on things that you're not comfortable with, and you know what? Experimenting and just having fun is a big part of that improvement. One scary thing while working with watercolours on this particular paper with this sketchbook is that when the colour first goes down, it's mottled as heck. It gets so mottled. The paper, even though it's thick enough to, take the water without sinking through instantly, it does buckle, it does soak through if you put too much on, and then when you do a big wash of colour down, at first it looks like you've just ruined the page. I will tell you what, I panicked so hard when I tried to first use this. I thought, oh no, I've ruined the page, I've ruined the piece, I should have just left it alone, but oh god, I can't leave it like that. Maybe it'll just look even worse if I just leave it like that. I have to see this through. And like with many things in art, you keep working on it, and so I kept working on it because I thought maybe if I did the full piece, the watercolour with the mottled effect would just look more stylized and interesting. Make it look rustic. Like a cloudy softness. So I kept working at it, and I did actually end up kinda liking it. It gave a cool texture to the piece when it was finished, and I was kind of feeling it. It sort of helped the colours to sort of blend into each other because the mottled effect would just sort of like merge them quite nicely. They'd sort of fit together. It was nice. And then I found out when it all dried, completely, it all sort of smoothed out, and it made a really nice effect. So heck yeah, I think I kind of really like working on this paper for inconsequential watercolour sketches. In fact, I like it so much so that I've now bought my new sketchbook, and it's exactly the same as my old sketchbook, because I like what I can do with this paper. And said paper, FYI, is pretty thick, so I can finish the sketchbook quicker, and that makes me feel like a more accomplished artist. Everybody wins! Sadly, my phone was really acting up when I was filming this, so I didn't get a lot of the footage at the end, but hey, we're in quarantine now. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're interested, basically I filled in the background, added like a halo around her of more yellowish tones to make her stand out a bit, added some extra strands of hair. I don't think it's my best work, but it's a learning experience, and it was nice to sit down and do some watercolour again after a while. It's been a while. I've done a lot of work just using markers and my tablet and digital work. I've done commissions and prints. I wanted to do some watercolour again. It was nice to get back to some painting. I enjoy painting. I highly recommend going back through your old sketchbook and working on sketches and stuff that, maybe you had written off before. It's nice to go back and give those pieces some love. And another little bonus, you can see how far you've come from when you first worked on that piece as well. You know, I'm definitely going to do a lot more with my old sketches in the future. Now that we're all stuck inside, I'd like to say that I'll be more actively making videos, but I still can't guarantee it. I'm working super hard on keeping myself afloat since all of my conventions have been postponed, so, yeah, I'm still pretty busy. But this was really fun, and I may make more of an effort to, you know, get out some content, even if they end up being, quarantine quality. Trademark. Just a little reminder to please support your small businesses and artists. We're all being, you know, pretty hard done by with this pandemic, and even just a share on social media can go a long way. I myself now have an Etsy store, and currently have commissions going on my Instagram, so please don't forget about the artists in your life. Even if you can't afford it yourself, a share or a shout out is always appreciated. Now more than ever, please make sure to look after yourself and the people that you love. Stay in touch with those who may be lonely, be considerate of other people and their needs. Stay inside if you can, and be kind to yourself. We'll make it through this. I hope you're all having the best time you can. Stay safe, everyone. Ta-ra.